6. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz was thanked by several West Texas leaders for his work on the I-27 Lettering Act this afternoon.
Cruz was the main speaker at a Bush Convention Center conference hosted by the Midland-Odessa Transportation Alliance. He actually introduced the act, which sets a route and a name for the interstate.
CBS 7's Hannah Brock was at the Bush Convention Center, and she brings us the details of today's meeting. Hannah?
Earlier this month, we told you that the act passed the Senate unanimously. Recently, it was signed into law by President Biden. Today, Cruz came to Midland to talk about the future of the interstate project as well as what it means for West Texans. Cruz played a major role in both Interstate 14 and 27 legislation. Each received bipartisan support in a typically divided political landscape.
And I think what has really worked well for both I-14 and for I-27 is we have seen consensus, we've seen unanimity. For I-27, we had the Texas Department of Transportation, and we also had the New Mexico Department of Transportation. One Republican, one Democrat, both leaning in, weighing in support of the legislation.
Designated by the red and green lines here, the two routes work together to improve the flow of food, fiber, and fuel.
Those two things really work in tandem, and what they mean for the Permian Basin is those two connections, their ensuing connections to I-10 and I-20, connect over 85% of our state's population, over 90% of our state's workforce, and over 95% of our state's gross domestic product through an interstate grade connection.
Interstate 27 is part of a decades-long conversation about a ports to plains corridor, connecting the United States southern border to as far as its northern border.
We are celebrating something that is a big move that has really represents decades of effort. And there's people in this room who have worked collaboratively to make that happen.
The act did not establish specific funding or projects, so these leaders say it's local, state, and federal teamwork that will push the project forward.
Building an interstate is not a process that happens overnight, but every step forward is accelerating towards final completion.
The timeline for the project is unclear, but will likely take years with many more updates to come. For CBS 7 First Alert News, I'm Hannah Brock.